Hey Zander, it's Friday. I know, sorry. It's been a heck of a week with a lot of ups and downs for me, and my mind is kind of running all over the place. There have been a lot of stressors that my brain runs through over and over again, but one thing that's helped me gain some insight and self-reflection is learning more about the Enneagram and specifically my type and characteristics. When I first heard about the Enneagram, I was pretty iffy on it, mostly because I had learned a lot about the very subjective nature of other personality tests and systems like Myers-Briggs. But when I started learning more about it through a friend, I could see that it was based on a desire to know yourself and learn about the things that drive you inside and the lies that tend to motivate us. I was still hesitant to get involved in something that so many people seem to gush about, like I was some emotional hipster, but that leads pretty directly into my own type. I misidentified myself the first few times because I didn't have much to go on and I didn't really do that much research, but I think you were there a night last semester where we were talking about the Enneagram with some friends. I had recently decided I was a 7, and I was just reading through some of the other type descriptions, and I came across the description of 4s, and I just said out loud, "What? Why didn't anybody tell me 4 was an option?" I later realized it was because the descriptors of types that I had been going off of included the statement, "My behavior can appear like drama to others, and I've been criticized for being overly sensitive and over-amplifying my feelings." Now, if other people have felt that way about me as a person, they certainly haven't said so openly. All that to say, not all 4s are exactly like that, and I am definitely a 4. Ever since I realized that and read more about common characteristics of 4s, I didn't really have any doubts anymore. And this week, I've been listening to podcast episodes that dive deeper specifically into Enneagram 4s. And it's been really refreshing to hear about myself, as well as challenging to hear specific things called out. One of the things that I resonated most with was this discussion about how I, as a 4, have this unnameable feeling that there's something more that I'm not getting, something very intangible that I can't quite put a pin in, and that leads to an idealization of relationships, of emotions, of life in general, and believe it or not, that can result in complicated stuff. If that had been the headline for 4s, I would have latched on right away. The main challenge point for 4s is usually the feeling of being special, or at least the need to be special. And I actually really liked the term that I came up with, emotional hipster, because I don't really care about physical things or fashion like another hipster, but I do have a need to feel and emote in a special way. One of the 4s that I was listening to talked about a time when he was with friends and they were all talking about the Enneagram, and they asked him what his type was, and he said, "I don't know, whatever type hates the Enneagram the most." And they all said, probably 4. That was my first instinct on hearing how much this helped other people. You know, everybody else is gushing about this. It's probably too mainstream for me, or it's really surface level and I'm not shallow enough to be taken in by it. Sitting with both of those things, the unnameable ideal that I feel a need for, and an almost pathological need to feel special, it's really revelatory to myself, and there's still a lot to learn. Obviously, the Enneagram is not the end-all of anybody's identity or personality, but I feel like I need a tool like that to help me get to the core of my emotions and feelings when I don't know how to get there myself yet. I would encourage you and anyone else to check it out if you haven't yet, especially since I think we may not be too different in this regard. Zander, I'll see you next week.